Welcome in, race fans. This is Bleachers and Features, my weekly show covering the world of racing and my adventures through it. Coming at you live from South Bend, Indiana and Buju HQ, which just sounds better than my basement. From Bullring B Mains to Cup Series Sundays. Let's talk race cars, friends. A very busy and very exciting weekend at the racetrack this week. I'm a sleepy boy. I'm going to give you that up front. I'm a little tired. I was off Thursday, Friday from work, and Saturday, Sunday, obviously, recording this Sunday. But, yeah, went to the race shop when I left work Wednesday, went to the track Thursday, spent time with friends Friday, racetrack all day Saturday, and now we're here recording on Sunday on Bleachers and Features. I was at Plymouth Thursday for the Bentley Warren Classic. We've talked a lot about that show on this show, so definitely want to talk about that. I got to meet Tony Stewart, the kid in a candy store, and another great feature from the All-Star National Pavement Midget Series. I was very grateful to be a part of that show, and we're definitely going to talk about that. My favorite race of the year, the Flagger Boy Twin 50s at New Paris, were certainly exciting. You cannot say they weren't exciting. Great, fantastic features, and exciting. Yeah, Kenny Wallace on the Monday Night Rewind this week. I want to talk about a little bit of social media behavior again in racing. But, yeah. So we'll start, like I said, Kenny Wallace was on the Monday Night Rewind on Top Row Racing Media this week. The other podcast I do with Lewis Noakes of Top Row Racing Media every Monday and Thursday, live on his channels. We had Kenny Wallace on this week promoting the Hot Shoe 100, which happened this weekend at Kalamazoo. I believe I saw Brian Bergaker won the Hot Shoe, so congratulations to him. Guy I've watched for a long time, and obviously a lot of late model success. Jumped over into the modified and won the Hot Shoe with a lot of badass names in that field, so congratulations to Brian Bergaker on winning the big show up at Kalamazoo. But Kenny Wallace was on the Monday Night Rewind to promote that show on Monday, and man, was that a cool situation to be hosting or co-hosting a show and getting to interview Kenny Wallace. I know Kenny Wallace isn't necessarily Dale Earnhardt, but who doesn't love Kenny Wallace? A fantastic ambassador for not only the sport as a whole, but specifically short track racing right now at this point in his career. Yeah, it was a real pleasure to have him on the Monday Night Rewind. He's such a professional that I don't know what I was stressing about, because you just got to ask a question, he's going to handle it. So there was no reason to stress there. What I was stressed about was when Lewis had to duck out of the main room on the show to get Kenny in and all that stuff, and it was just me and my buddy Evan Verdine having to hold down the fort on a live show. There's a reason I record Bleachers and Features and not do it live, but that was a little nerve-wracking. But other than that, it was really cool getting to talk to Kenny Wallace. Had some really good answers, so if you want to go back and listen to that interview, it's a pretty short one if you only want to listen to Kenny Wallace on the Monday Night Rewind. I think he had some really insightful answers. Some deep stuff from Kenny Wallace that I feel like a lot of people could take to heart.
That's not a bad thing, right? So, Kenny, as someone who's been entrenched in stock car racing, like you mentioned, at every level, what is it about short track racing specifically that keeps you coming back for all these years?
I love competition. I like competing. Of course, I'm in a better mindset now that I'm 63 years old. Every race is not do or die. When I was Evan's age, if I had a bad practice session, I thought that was the end of my career. Yeah. If I ran seventh, and I, didn't get what I needed to get, I thought, oh my God, that's it. My life is over. But that was never true.
Yeah. Go ahead and check that out on Monday Night Rewind. It's really, really cool having Kenny Wallace on. Thank you to Kalamazoo Speedway and Andy Jack, and obviously Kenny Wallace for making that happen. And he was on vacation in Wisconsin Dells with his family, so shout out to Kim and the family for letting Kenny step out and talk to us for a few minutes. That was really cool. Thursday, the Bentley Warren Classic happened at the Plymouth Motor Speedway. The All-Star National Pavement Midget Series brought 30 midgets with them, or they started 30 in the feature anyway. There might have been more on the property. But we've talked about it for quite some time now. Tony Stewart was there. Ryan Newman was there. Ken Schrader was there, all in race cars. Kyle O'Gara, Jake Trainor, Thomas Meserol, T-Mez once again in the house. tons of talent. Jaden Kratachi with the local flavor. Tons of talent in that Midget series and Midget feature. And once again, they put on a great race. But like I said, the names and attendance, I already mentioned the people in race cars, but then Bentley Warren, who the race was named after, who I also got a picture with. That was really cool. The biggest hands I've ever seen on a man, I think. It's a big boy, Bentley Warren, at 85 years old. I don't think I'd mess with that guy. Even at 85, that's a big boy, Bentley Warren. But very cool to meet him. Poncho Carter was in attendance. Ray Dillon was walking around. Tom Bigelow was there with his grandson. They seemed like they had a great time at the races. Tom was like such a nice guy, but knowing who he is, my little race fan brain just couldn't go up. Like, he was 4 feet in front of me watching midget practice, and I just couldn't go say anything to him by myself. I was too scared. That's Tom Bigelow, dude. That's Tom Bigelow. But yeah, Leah Pruitt was there, obviously. Well, so let's talk about the Tony Stewart story. So, Jay, my buddy of On Track Design, Jay Freet, rode down there with me. And he was there. The news was there. The news crews were there. So he was kind of directing traffic, getting interviews for the news crew because he's the head of media or whatever it is down there at the Plymouth Motor Speedway, and for this leased show that Irish Saunders and Thunder Motorsports were promoting. But rode down there with him, and he was kind of directing traffic on the news interview stuff. And it was just kind of the moment where Jay was like, if you're going to get in there, Tony, you got to get in there. And he was having this conversation with a very nice lady. And as she stepped away, I just said, Tony, can I get a picture real quick? And he goes, sure, man. He's fiddling with something in his hands or whatever. We take the picture. And Jay mentioned something to Tony about that Buju loves your racetrack. So I turned to him, and the dog in question is sitting right here. I turned to Tony and said, I named my dog after your racetrack. And Tony goes, oh, man, I love that place. I'd live on the property if I could quit racing. So not a large interaction, nothing Tony Stewart's going to remember, but for a little race fan like me, boy, was it cool just to be in the presence of, legitimately, in my opinion, one of the 3 greatest race car drivers of all time. I got to take my picture with him. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know, man. I'm appreciative of stuff like that. Like, I don't know if I mentioned on this show. I mentioned it somewhere recently, but I was kind of being a sad ass about something that was going on, whatever the media side things is. And my nephew Brendan made a great point. Like, imagine what 10-year-old Buju would think. And if you told 10-year-old Buju that he was going to go in the pits and meet Tony Stewart, his head would explode. And mine almost did at 32 years old, meeting Tony Stewart on Thursday. So I don't know. I still think that stuff's cool. I'm very appreciative of getting opportunities to do things like that. And I also obviously have to thank Irish Saunders for letting me be part of that show and making videos and promoting and taking my little videos and clips and stuff in the pits. It was really fun to get to be a part of something that I knew was going to be a big show, and it was a big show that was really, really exciting, especially on the midget side of things. Like I said, just another great feature. Kyle Ogar ended up winning again. Started outside row 2. He wasn't in the top 2 the whole race. I know he was shuffled back to at least 3rd at one point and had to get back through, and he had to chase Michael Lewis down for the lead. So it was a really good race. Crashers Adventures was actually in the house, I believe, for the events on Thursday. So if you want to watch Thursday's action, check out our friends at Crashers Adventures. Saturday's action, obviously, on Top Row Racing Media. But yeah, just a great show on Thursday. Kyle Ogar, like I said, got another win. He sweeps the year at Plymouth Motor Speedway, and I honestly might be addicted to that All-Star National Pavement Midget Series. I'm honest on this show, and I've said it before, that I've not always been the biggest open wheel racing fan in the world. A lot of times in my past, when open wheel series came through this area, they brought low car counts and spread out racing, and it just wasn't quite the product that I felt like I always heard about with like a World of Outlaws or, back in the glory days of, the Road to Indy and all that stuff. Like I never really felt like I got a true taste of great open wheel racing. And 2 features into the All-Star National Pavement Midgets at Plymouth, I genuinely feel like they bring a great racing product to the racetrack. And as someone who doesn't necessarily lean towards the open wheel side of things, just based on my upbringing and what I grew up enjoying and watching and racing, Like I said, as someone who doesn't necessarily prefer that, I want to seek out more All-Star National Pavement Midget Series races. Because I've seen 2 of them and they were both exciting as all hell. We did have a nasty flip in the middle of the race, and I'm not sure who it was that ended upside down, but I was very concerned about that person for a moment. There was another concerning moment later on in the night in the Hornet portion. But yeah, glad everybody shook out okay on that. I know there's video out there. I don't really like posting wrecks on my page. Like, I don't know that I'm mad at you if you do. That's not the part I'm selling, I guess. I don't know. I got the Hornet wreck and I didn't post it, but I don't know. Different philosophies, I suppose. I'm not mad at anybody. Just, what are your thoughts on that? If you're in a nasty wreck, do you want to see somebody posting the video of your wreck? Like, if it's part of the race, I guess that's one thing, but I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that's touchy. I don't like that road personally, so I don't touch it. But glad everybody shook out okay in the wreck. Obviously, there is video out there if you want to seek it out and watch the wreck. Like I said, that's not my bag, but it is out there if you want to watch it. Glad everybody shook out okay in that one. Later on in the night, the Hornet wreck, first corner of the first lap, and this is such a great opportunity to talk about why safety matters in every damn class. Hornet racing, the bottom of, and that's not a shot at Hornet racers. I am a Hornet racer. Hornet racing is literally the bottom of stock car racing. It's the very entry, bottom budget level. That's not to say there aren't people that can drive race cars in Hornets. There absolutely are. But as when you're looking at the totem pole of racing, Hornets are down here. They're the base. And that means it's what the sport's built on. Absolutely. But at the same time, it's the base. You can't go lower than Hornets as far as stock cars go. You can't go slower than Hornets unless you're getting bigger, but then that becomes heavier, I guess. But that becomes another discussion. But as far as it goes for driving a race car, Hornets the very base entry bottom level. And it was turn 1 of the first corner on the green flag lap. Car gets turned out in front of the entire field. Chain reaction. One car wheel hops another. My friend Chris Kane, who I started racing with, one of my good friends in racing, wheel hops another car, hits on the right side, skids roof first into the wall, ends up barrel rolling, lands upside down, comes to a rest there. During the action, and I hope my friend Chris is okay with me talking about this, because I'm talking about safety here. During this action, his head gets pinned, his chin is pinned to his chest like this, and the roll bar, the halo bar, is pinched down and in where the roof hit the wall, and his head is stuck right there, and he's upside down. So the safety crew and a few of Chris's crew and friends and us get the car flipped back over, and Chris's head is still stuck like this. And he's bleeding between the eyes because the windshield's shattered, and I assume his visor popped up. Luckily, he's conscious. Luckily, he's able to move. He knows where he is. But, like I said, he's chin to chest with his helmet pinned to the cage. If that was any worse of a situation, my friend wouldn't be here. When I saw it happen, I wasn't sure if my friend was still here. Safety matters in every level of this sport. There's no such thing as going too slow on a racetrack. Bad things can happen to anybody in any class, and it happens really fast, no matter who you are, how many years you have in a race car. It can happen to you. My friend was inches away from not being with us anymore. He had his ZAMP or his neck restraint or whatever it was on, and he was still inches away from not being with us anymore. Safety matters in race cars, y'all. There's no such thing as not going fast enough, or I know what I'm doing, or it can't happen to me, because it can happen to you. And if it does, you don't want to pay the ultimate consequence. So I don't know. Living example of safety comes first. If you can't afford to be safe, you can't afford to race. not only are you like someone could lose their life or be severely injured and have their life severely affected, and it's not only them that has to live with that, it's also the person that maybe they bounce off of, or the other people in that race, and their families. Obviously, goes without saying. Like I said, inches away in a Hornet, it always matters. Safety is never just we'll be okay. That's not how it works, man. Glad my buddy Chris is okay. It was scary. I don't even remember who won that feature. I was so worried about my friend. Who ended up winning? Is it Ryan Lagasty? I don't remember who won. Maybe I should, but I was just so worried about my friend. Yeah, that was Thursday. The high of meeting Tony Stewart and the low of watching my friend go real first into the wall. So, I guess that's racing, right? Like I said, Friday, no racetrack for me. I'm sure it was a great show up at Kalamazoo. I don't know who won the new shoe on Friday. Uninformed on that. But I had a great day with friends. A much needed, relaxing day at the pool. Some drinks. It was nice. That was a very nice day for me. Saturday, New Paris, Flagger Boy, Twin 50s. I went with my driver, the 72 of Evan Verdine. His second Flagger Boy. He was in the last chance race last year. Missed the show by one spot and went ahead and won the last chance race. Had to do it on the top side. It was very exciting last year. This year, went ahead and qualified in 42 street stocks on the property for the Flagger Boy Twin 50s. Probably would have been 50 plus if someone else didn't schedule against it. We talk about working together and being better for the sport, but only sometimes, huh? Come on, y'all. Come on. Would have probably easily cleared 50 cars at Flagger Boy yesterday if everyone worked together on schedules like they say they want to. But still, great turnout. Fan count was the best that I've seen at New Paris this year. It was a really nice attendance in the crowd, I felt like. And boy, were those races exciting. Jeff Gannis won the limited late model feature. Had him handled. Shout out Jeff on that one. Always going to be tough to beat whenever he shows up. And boy, was he in the limited feature. So Jeff took care of that one in the Hunter Engineering Company limited late model division. Chris Harmon won the Hornet race. I left before that one was over because the street stock races were so exciting. So Josh Summers won the first one. The Jake was the first feature. And he didn't do it from the front neither. He had a deep draw and a long way to go. He got out front relatively early considering where he started. I feel like it was a very chaotic race. Evan Verdine got caught up in a little bit of a skirmish, we'll say. I'll tell you one thing. What I saw in the moment is totally different than what I see in the video. The video is still not a great angle. But what I thought happened in the moment absolutely isn't what happened. And going back at the video, it's more... all right, so this is where I'm coming from here. This is what this part of the race spurns. This is the conversation that this kicks off. You've got to leave stuff between drivers. Like nobody's perfect, and I'm in no place to tell anybody how to act when it comes to living in the world of racing. Have I made mistakes and made an ass of myself? Oh my God, yes. All the time. Oh my God, yes. But the more time I spend in the sport and the more people I'm around and the more experiences I gain in the sport, I realize that when something happens between people on the racetrack, it is just between those people. Maybe crew guys that are slaving away in the shop and are living and breathing with that driver daily, if not, maybe daily is an exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying. If they're not living in that shop with that driver, it's either the driver or somebody of that ilk that has got to be the one that says something. Because you just look silly when you're not the driver and you are making comments on it. Have I made that same mistake? Absolutely. As I said, I've done it before. And as I said, I'm not in a position to tell anybody how to act, but I'm just telling you how other people are going to look at it. I know, and I regret the times I've made those mistakes. Like, I understand it. Like, my emotions are never higher than they are when I'm at the racetrack. There's nowhere else where they're as high as they are when I'm at an oval. You know what I'm saying? So I get the urge to want to say something and feel like, well, I'm going to tell them. But it's not your place. It's not my place. If I'm not holding the steering wheel or dumping money into the car, I guess, out of my pocket. But at the end of the day, it's going to be the drivers who, in most cases, like some drivers have car owners, I suppose. Those drivers aren't, I'm not friends with any of those ones. But, like, it's the drivers that have to pay the consequence for whatever happens. So if I open my mouth on Facebook and I get my driver wrecked because I said something, how are you going to feel about that? And like I said, I understand the emotion. I absolutely do. Nobody understands it more than me. If you've spent a good amount of time around me, you've also seen me get upset at the racetrack. It absolutely happens. No denial. But like I said, it's the drivers who have to live in it. They're the ones that got to go out and race with that same guy again next week. It happened between the drivers. The drivers are pissed after the race is over. And that's not just the only thing. Like, you also have to take into account there was everybody's bouncing off of everybody out there. Emotions were already high before that incident already happened. That's bullring racing. You just have to think before you act sometimes, I guess. Like, especially when you're speaking on behalf of another driver and you're involving yet another one. And words like respect are big words to be using in a situation like that. Respect, to me, respect is an awfully big thing. So if you're going to be using words like respect and things of that nature, maybe leave it between the people who are involved. Will I make that same mistake again? Probably. I'll probably do it again too. But will I look like an ass when I do it? Yeah, I will. And there's other people that were, there were some more people that just should have their comments taken away on Facebook this week too, by the way. Oh, yes, Josh Summers. Okay, let's get back on track. Folks, let's get back on the track. Veered off into the grass, kicks up some dirt, safety crew's out there sweeping it up. Let's get back on the racetrack here, folks. Huh? Josh Summers won that first Flagger Boy. Fantastic race. Every interaction I've ever had with the driver of the 32 car, Josh Summers, has been positive. Just seems like a really solid, good guy, and was very happy to see him end up taking the checkered flag in the Jake. Gage Harris, I think, ended up second in that. He had a bad, fast race car. He was trying to move Josh off the bottom, and there was a few times where he got Josh sideways and could have forced the issue. And I feel like Gage was courteous in those moments. So shout out to the 32 car. It was the other 32 car of Gage Harris. Fantastic race between those two at the front. Dirty D. Andrew DeVries got up there for a minute. Had a tough break with a caution that put him back behind Summers. I was surprised nobody really looked to the top side of Josh. Once he got to the lead, I felt like everybody was trying to make the move on the bottom or move him out of the way. I was just I'm not in a street stock, so again, not my place. But I was just surprised nobody went to the top side. Steve Stacy held the top side really well in the second race. I don't know, maybe he was pulling off a miracle when he did it. I was just surprised nobody even really looked like they tried to go around Josh Summers up high. But shout out to that beautiful, beautiful Darrell Waltrip throwback number 32 car of Josh Summers and the Flawless Racing team. They were pitted right next to us at New Paris, so it was very cool to see him get a big win at New Paris. They work hard over there, I know that. And it was Austin Maynard winning in the second feature. Some more controversy in that one. So Austin, early in the race, his hood flew up on his windshield. He was already bad fast by that point, I feel like, and was charging forward and was already like close to the front. Got sent to the tail because they had to put his hood back down. Apparently, there was a case earlier this year where another driver had that same incident happen and got to keep his spot. So there were some people upset that Austin got sent to the tail. I don't know. Wasn't there. Can't speak on that previous incident. Austin went to the tail for having to get his hood put back down last night. But it didn't ultimately matter because he charged his ass back up to the front and was right back in a race with his brother Logan, Steve Stacy, and his dad, Ronnie Maynard Jr., for the lead. Josh Trammell was also in the mix. I don't want to discount anybody else, but I felt like the race for the lead was those four for a good time. Austin charges back up there, does most of the work on the top side. Again, super impressive out of the 29 car. Damn, it was fast. He gets back in the race for the lead, gets around his dad, eventually works around Steve Stacy, and he is racing his brother Logan for the lead in the Danny at the Flagger Boy Twin 50s. Lap traffic comes into play. Don't remember who it was. Might have been Kelsey Fletcher, but I don't want to put the false accusation on it, so I'm not 100% sure who it was. They're racing for the lead. They're side by side. They're ducking and diving through lap traffic. Logan goes high on a lap car coming off of 4. Austin tries to make a move going low on the lap car. Lap car comes off of Austin's nose and goes around. Caution comes out. What call do you make there? What's your call? Because I think in the moment I agreed with the one the track made of Austin keeping his spot. I understand that the car came off of his nose, but it's a lap car. And that's not to discount a lap car and say that those people aren't mad, that they don't matter, they're still in the race, but I feel like it is the responsibility of a lap car to let the leaders race. I would have to see the video again to be sure, but I didn't feel like Austin was all the way at the bottom of the racetrack. I feel like he was in a racing lane trying to get to make a move on Logan. And Austin, I mean, if you're in that spot, you're not going to send yourself to the tail if you're Austin. I didn't hate the call that the track made. Like, I honestly forgot about it till the feature was over and people were mad. I was like, what are people hollering about? And they're like, well, the lap car thing. It's like, oh, really? I don't know. I guess that's a judgment call to an extent, but like I said, it wasn't really a second thought to me, the call that they made. No, and neither was the hood one. And getting sent to the tail for the hood, that made sense to me as well. Either way, I don't like if you're gonna act like Austin didn't earn that feature, you're lying. Because like I said, he put it on the top side and just drove around everybody, including his brother Logan, who is insanely fast. As well as Steve Stacy, who held the top side forever and couldn't get it done on Logan, but Austin did. So just 2 fantastic street stock races at the Flagger Boy Twin 50s. We'll talk about another incident that happened. So this will be another lesson to learn. How to conduct yourself in the world of racing, I guess. We won't name the participants of this incident. So a very fast, very accomplished street stock driver who I would say has a reputation that you don't want to make him mad, and I would say that's fair. I think he'd agree with that. I don't know the man personally, but I think he'd agree with that. He had teammates in the last race that already got involved in a little bit of a scuffle, so maybe temper's already high there, as I alluding back to the situation earlier. Remember, situations can already be high, or tempers can already be high from other situations, leading into new situations, causing more situations. But as I said, this driver, his teammates maybe got a little bit of a scuffle in the last race, so temper's already high, and then he gets just caught up in somebody else's mess. Wasn't his fault at all, and his car gets tore up pretty bad. So as he's walking back to the pits, I feel like there's a few people yelling stuff, but I'm not 100% sure. One guy for sure said something. I'm not sure what he said. Now, this guy's already known by some people for reasons. But this driver hears this fan saying whatever he said. And the driver says, "Hey, you in the black shirt, you stay where you are. I'm coming to see you. I'm coming to see you." So that man, the fan, sat there for a moment, got up, took off running, and I thought for a brief moment, I was like, is he about to go meet this driver? There's no way, right? And he sure didn't. He took off, he went to the parking lot, and just kept going. One of the funniest things I've ever seen at a racetrack, dude. A living example. If you're going to talk about it, be about it. Like, you can have that's what I said. Talk to your driver and talk to your friends. Because there's a time and place. And that fan picked the wrong time and the wrong place and the wrong driver to do it to. Boy, did I think he learned a lesson. I hope he learned a lesson. Man, that was funny to see, boy. If you were sitting over there where I was sitting watching the second feature, the Danny, you know what I'm talking about. Man, a lot. There's about 40 40 people running through the parking lot looking for that guy. I don't know, man. Bullring racing gets crazy sometimes, dude. People's brains shutting off and getting a little too hot. Everybody overheating. It's late in the year. This is what happens, right? This is when the drama kicks up. Fights galore, I feel like, in the last few weeks. And that's not, I don't feel like it's any track's fault. This is just the time of the year. It's the season. It's bickering season at the races. Pull up my topic sheet here. I really lost my train of thought when I was, like I said, I don't harbor bad feelings on anybody necessarily. I'll get fired up. I will get fired up. That's absolutely going to happen. You have to, USA. What's that from? I feel like that became a part of the nomenclature. And I don't know if anybody has any idea where USA originally came from. But anyways, yeah. Just remember, we all get emotional. And we can all say things. But actions have consequences. And at the end of the day, if there's going to be consequences, maybe it should be on the people within the machines or the people working on the machines or, the people living in it. It's easy to, I love my friends. And when stuff happens at the racetrack, I'm mad. And I want to do something about it too. But at the end of the day, it's between the drivers. And a fan in the stands learned that on Saturday as well. Leave it between the drivers, man. Leave the racetrack on the racetrack. Let the drivers figure it out. M40, I feel like my race pass was just all wrong at M40 on Saturday. So I'm not really sure who won anything for sure. I know my brother won a heat race because he told me and finished 8th in the feature. That would be Derek Davis, the 18 car, the Saturn, P8 at M40 with 124 horsepower. Still having electrical problems with our number 18 Nissan. Dylan Hale, the pilot of that one, for the remainder of the year, at least. See what happens next year. Sounds like Dylan might have a new ride of his own. But still having electrical issues with that one. Gonna try and figure that out. Feels like we're getting the issue narrowed down. Just electrical issues are so frustrating on front wheel drives. I don't know how many people out there are listening to this show that are also in the front wheel drive sphere of racing, but boy, can they be annoying. And then my buddy Dakota Milbourne won the Road Warrior feature at the M40 Speedway. I do know that for sure as well. Last lap pass at Josh Witt on the top side. Dakota's had a lot of success at South Bend and Plymouth. Another guy I started racing with, one of my very good friends in racing. So shout out to him, getting a win on the top side like a race car driver at a new track to him. I think he's been there before, but his first win there, and he hasn't raced there a lot. So shout out to Dakota, doing it on the top side, getting a win. Oh, did I cover everything this weekend? I think I did. I think we've talked about everything. What do y'all want to talk about? You know what I'm saying? You tell me what you want to talk about. What do you want to hear me talk about? You got questions? You got comments? You have concerns? What do you want to hear on Bleachers and Features going forward? I know I mentioned getting interviews this week, but they just ended up being busier days than I expected to be, and I was just a nervous wreck on Thursday. Like I said, there were so many important people around that I felt this big all day Thursday. I know I got to be better about that. Everybody was very accommodating all day long. I get to get an autograph from Ken Schrader as well. I don't think I mentioned that in the earlier portion. Shout out Kenny Schrader. You know he's always going to be the best. But yeah, I should have done better at being a interviewer or a podcast host. Excuse me, when I was at those racetracks this week. But hey, man, I'm intimidated sometimes. I'm just a little boy. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'll never do that again. Trust me. But I think that's a show. This week, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I have a rain check from Plymouth Championship night that I think is supposed to be good for their show on Saturday, but it looks like the plans just changed for that. So I might be going to watch my brother race at M40 if he's racing there, but I don't know if he's planning on doing that for sure. So next weekend, very up in the air, it seems. What do we have to look forward to? I know South Bend show coming up. I know the Summer Sizzler at the end of this month. Still a lot of big shows coming up on the schedule. I know this was kind of the two I had big red circles around coming up this week with the Bentley Warren and the Flagger Boy. Those are my two big ones. So a little bit of a come down for me this week, but that's okay because I'm still going to find cars going in circles and I'm still going to be at the racetrack hanging out with my friends. And at the end of the day, there's no place I would rather be. It's my happy place, and I like to keep it that way. And maybe that's why I'm so passionate about Baby Llama Don't Need No Drama. You know what I'm saying? It's my happy place. Let's just keep it that way, right? Let's all just hug it out and kiss and make up and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's just sheet metal, right? Sheet metal and money. Sheet metal and money. Thanks for joining me on Bleachers and Features this week. Make sure you like and subscribe, please. Apparently, I'm supposed to say that on the podcast. So wherever you're listening to this, whether it's on Facebook, or if it's on YouTube, or if it's on Spotify, or if it's on Apple Podcasts, hit that follow button or the subscribe button. If you can leave a review on whatever platform you may be listening or watching on, if you could drop a quick 5-star review, that would be very appreciative. That's not how that word works. I would be very appreciative, and it would be very appreciated. Yeah, like, subscribe, review, share. Send me a message. Just tell me what you think about it. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate all you guys stopping in, checking in, listening in on Bleachers and Features. Join me on the Thursday night Throttle and Monday Night Rewind on the Top Row Racing Media platforms as well. Have a good time doing those shows. I'm back both nights this week, I believe, Monday and Thursday. If we're having a show Thursday, I think so. I don't see why we wouldn't. But see you next time. Thanks for stopping in. This has been Bleachers and Features, and I will see you at the races.